Hi Year 12, we're now going to be looking at in a little bit more detail the hypothesis test for product moments. So it'll be fairly obvious it's that type of hypothesis test because look, often you will be given two types of data. I've picked this question from your textbook. It was from exercise 1C, the very start of that new textbook, and this is number 3. And I think it was a teacher was collecting data of biology theory tests scores against the biology practical test scores. And generally what you've got to do first in a question is you've probably got to work out the product moment correlation coefficient for that data. So Bella, if you can come over for me. Okay, and if you can zoom in on this. Is that bright enough, Bella? Okay, so first thing we need to do is to make sure you don't have the frequency on. So did you see what I did there? I went into shift menu. I'm going to go into statistics. So I need to make sure my frequency is off. And then I need to go back into menu and I need to find statistics, which is that one. And it's not one variable because I'm putting in two types of data. So I'm going to be using y equals a plus bx, linear regression we're expecting here. You won't need any of the others anyway for A-level. Okay, so Bella, if you hold that up here next to this data, so I'm just going to quickly type those in. 5, 9, 7, 11, 20, 4, 6, 17, 12, 10, 15, 16. And then I'm quickly going to type in the corresponding, bear with me, corresponding practical scores, 6, 8, 9, 13, 20, 9, 8, 17, 14, 8, 17, 18. And then let me just remind you what we then do. We're going to go into option. And you might think it's number 3, 2 variable, but if you try that, it will basically just give you means, standard deviations for X and Y. We don't want that one. We actually want the regression calculation. And in there, Bella, can you zoom in on that? So what I want from that, I don't need the linear regression line. I just need that PMCC value, which is, looks like that's 0.935. Notice I'm using R because it's my sample PMCC. Okay, thanks for that, Bella, for the zoom in. Let me just read the question. Okay, so that was part A, find the product moment. Part B, no, that was part B, find the product moment. Okay, so here we go. A teacher claims that the students who do well in theory generally do well in the practical test. Test at the 0.05 significance level, stating your hypothesis clearly. Okay, so remember what we always do. My parent population is rho and I assume there's no correlation. Remember, like the parent population would be perhaps all the students in the country rather than just these particular 12. This is my particular sample. And the teacher is suspecting that if you do well in one, you'll do well in the other. So imagine you're plotting that on a scatter graph. That would give you positive correlation. So I'm predicting, or the teacher's predicting, that my alternative hypothesis then is I'm suspecting that in fact it's not no correlation, it's going to be positive correlation. Just reminding you what the value of R always is. The value of R will only ever range from -1 to 1. Perfect negative would be -1. That would be all your points lying on a straight line, negative gradient. No correlation. This is what we're assuming at the start. Perfect positive would be a value of 1. And we're hoping then to hopefully get a value right over here, which we can see we have already, but we want to see how significant that is. So what we do, Bella, if you can zoom in, you will be, in your formula booklets, find something a little bit like this. Can you zoom in as much as you can, Bella, on that table? I've got 12 values in my sample, and in the question you're told to use a 5% significance level. Oh, sorry, not that table, Bella. The table below. Bella, if you can try and zoom in where it says 12, can you read that, Bella? 12. And we've got a 5% significance level, so I'm just going wrong. Bella, can they see that there? Yeah. 0.4973. Thank you, Bella. So my value I've got as my critical value, 0.4973, I think it was. And what we then do is we just have to check if this value we got from our sample falls in my critical region. Well, here's your cutoff points. Remember, this value will change depending on how big your sample is. So my cutoff point here is 0.4793, or in fact, if I was worrying about it being negative correlation, not that I am in this case, is minus 0.4793. And here are my critical regions. I will reject H0 the further I get from the null hypothesis. So here is one critical region over here. Here is my other critical region over here. And of course, we got earlier a value of 0.935, which is somewhere right up here. So I can see clearly you'd write something like this in your answer. 0.935 is greater than 0.4973. Therefore, we reject H0 as it falls in the critical region. And remember your wordy sentence at the end that always is about worth a mark. You know, you need to say something in lines with the context of the question. So we there is enough evidence to suggest that there is a positive correlation between theory and practical test scores for biology.